So instead of Eunula, she put Mary. She did her real address, her real phone number, everything else. And I said, Eunula. She goes, well, well, I just started filling out the form, and I guess, I don't know, it asked me the questions. I forgot. That's an illustration of how the form kind of structures you to answer the questions, right? Secondly, you look at who do you contact in time of emergency? John, that's her married spouse, right? He's responsible for the account. Should that person be the one that maybe accompanies her to the presentation of findings? Probably. Who do you also have to gear this emotional discussion to? If you're truly trying to offer legitimate options for care, solution to a problem, you're probably going to have to get past John maybe. All right, win him over too. Honestly, of course. All of this information that you see on here, you study it, make some notes, and prepare to summarize. So like in this case, when you walk in the door, you know that the number one complaint is neck. It ranges from 0 to an 8, 18 to 20 years ago. She thinks that it was caused by multiple car accidents and that it's occasional, but when it happens, it's severe. It totally knocks her out. Okay, she can't even function. Mother of 5 or whatever it is. The point is, now you have more data to base this discussion on. Okay, so the summary is going to be critical. So as you walk in that door, you're going to have to be able to reiterate that. So nice to meet you. I'm Dr. Heun. It's a pleasure. I understand you're suffering from some neck pain. It ranges from here to here. And you think it started like 20 years ago. Is that right? Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. That kind of thing. You've got to be able to do that. Research says clearly that they want you to. They want to know that they invested that time on your form, that you understand what they put down. Some years ago at a seminar, one of my clients from Omaha's wife had to see a high-end cardiologist. Took 3 months to get the appointment, $6,000, some tests and so forth. She waits 3 hours to see the guy. Walks in, finally, the guy walks in the room. He's on his phone. He goes, oh, hi, I'll be with you in a minute, blah, blah, blah. So what are you here for? She was not real happy. Not real happy. Would you be? So that first, how you come in the room is a huge factor. I can't stress enough how much that's an important part of connecting. Some of us do it naturally. Some of you don't. But I will tell you, wherever you are in practice right now is probably more related to your emotional IQ and your personal skills than your technical skills. Okay? So this is the area that you need to focus at this point in your career. Not to ignore the technical, continue to refine that, but it has to be in the background, not at the forefront. When you first meet people, eye contact, a smile and warm greeting. Why is this important? If you're trying to explore the patient history, you can't get past the superficial part, you're not getting there, unfortunately. How are you going to posture yourself? If you're my size and the person is this big, you want to maybe minimize your physical impression to them. If the person is 6'8", 400 pounds, I'm going to probably walk in and stay standing, right? There's an element of connection, and mirroring is also important. We'll talk about that in a minute. After you summarize, so in Eunula's case, or Mary's case, Mary, you've got this neck pain, you think it started, 20 years ago, and blah, 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 blah. Would it be okay if I explored that a little bit? You want to try and make that physical contact as soon as you can, within reason, okay? Palpate that area of the greatest concern. When you start to, and incidentally, when you're doing so, later you're going to do a little more thorough exam, and I don't want to miss this point. You touch that area, palpate. Some people have taught that you just want to poke it and show them where it hurts. I would say be sincere in your analysis. And also, if you've already gathered data, for instance, if you've got an open office or even the opportunity to watch that new patient walk in and you start to develop your first impression right then, make some notes, hey, they limp, the shoulder's low, blah, blah, blah. You really know who you're going to meet there. After you do that initial palpation of that area that hurts, you might do those secondary areas. So your head's off to the left a little bit, I see, and this is tight over here. Oh, yeah, that's funny that you knew that. You know, that kind of thing. Not just for the effect, for sure, but to, again, break down that physical and emotional barrier so that they open up to you. How often have you asked a couple questions, not gotten a lot of response? You start to palpate, you touch a few areas, and all of a sudden, the person opens up and tells you their life story about how they were abused or they were beaten or they, you know what I mean? It just starts coming out of them. So the sooner you can break that down, the better. And you can't really rush it either. Always refer to the symptoms that they tell you about in the exact way they describe them. Don't redefine something that they own. People don't talk about the pain in the abstract or their condition or whatever in the abstract, right? They talk about it as though they own it. You've got to explore how they feel about how they feel. Essential that, so when you can't turn your head and you can't cook dinner for the children, Mary, how does that make you feel? Oh, it's not abstract anymore. Now it brings it right back, okay? 2 essential questions have to be answered when you first meet this new patient. You have to find out what the one thing, try to narrow it down. What's the one thing that so-and-so said that got you to pick up the phone, call, and come in? What's the one thing that you saw on my website? What's the one thing about meeting me at this screening that finally, convinced you that it was safe to call and schedule? It's essential that you know that. Secondarily, the follow-up is, what do you expect chiropractic care to do for your migraine headaches? And let them answer. Oh, I expect you to get rid of them. How do you envision chiropractic care doing that? You want to know what they know. Now, this is even more essential if they've seen someone else. And having practiced for a long time and found people in the referral book, and people found me, I can't tell you how many times people came to me from other CVP chiropractors, walked in and went, what's all that stuff? And you've experienced it, where I refer people, and then I come out and they go, Doc, yeah, they don't have any of that stuff. They gave me a foam block and sent me home. Oh. So you got to explore, right? But most importantly, how many people, in the Midwest, this seems to be maybe a little more relevant, but a lot of people grew up with, oh, you're getting a cold? Go get adjusted. Chiropractic is a whole body kind of care. It's all about being healthier. If your bones are out of place, your nerve doesn't work right, you get sick. So if you're starting to not feel so hot, you go get adjusted once. That's kind of how they operate. Well, if that's their mindset and they just transplanted from, Kansas to Seattle, you got to know, what's their expectation? This is all about that.